I've been told before that every city in Australia stands out from the others. I've learnt that Sydney is very metropolitan, Brisbane relaxes, it's family friendly, but Melbourne is something completely different. It's like walking through a film set, and every new location or person you bump into has a huge story to tell. But for the next couple of days, I'm on a big mission to find out what nobody tells you about visiting Melbourne. And honestly, it's nothing like I ever expected. Hey mate, welcome back to A Brit Lost in Australia, the series where we try not to get lost, sunburnt, or attacked by some sort of animal while we explore this incredible country. This time we are in Melbourne and it's a gorgeous day, but apparently they have 4 seasons in one day here, so I should feel right at home. So I must admit, I have been to Melbourne a few times in the past and I absolutely love it. But I feel like I haven't really been able to sink my teeth into it. But the thing I love about Melbourne is that it doesn't make you feel as rushed as somewhere like London or Tokyo or even Sydney. You can kind of glide through it and soak up just all of the incredible artistry around you. Now for me, this trip wasn't just about sightseeing, it was to learn what makes Melbourne so loved by so many people around the globe. And honestly, where do I even begin? Now, we haven't eaten yet, and I think we need a little bit of brekkie. And also, we gotta try this lovely coffee, see what it's all about.
They say it's the best coffee in the world.
When I moved to Australia, I realised that Australia has the best coffee in the world. Even better than the coffee you can get in Italy and France, in my opinion. And so I thought it can't get better than this. Then I went to Melbourne. We're currently in Cuff, which is this really beautiful industrial cafe. The staff are lovely. First coffee of Melbourne. I've gone for a flat white. Wow. That's really good. I have to go in for another sip. That is so smooth and rich and creamy. And it's not bitter. Shall we see what you think of your latte?
It's just like, it's crazy how smooth it can be. I think back to when we were in the UK literally last week. The coffee, what's going on? Is it that hard? That sounds really mean, but basically, it's perfect. Honestly, it's actually a perfect cup of coffee. What can I say? So,
if you're a Brit like me, you grew up believing that coffee has to have like a bitter, sour taste to it. Wait till you get older, mate, then you develop a palate for it, you're fine. That was the lie I've always been led to believe. Then you try the coffee in Melbourne. It's kind of like a completely different drink entirely. That breakfast was absolutely unreal. Maddie had this caramelised French toast. I had a classic smashed avo with poached egg. It was like crushed peanuts. And now we're on our way to somewhere very, very iconically Melbourne. The people in Melbourne are so cool. You get people from all walks of life. You get the 9-to-5 business goers and the CEOs going off to their skyscraper towers. But then you also get painters and musicians and performers walking down the street. Fashion is brilliant. And it feels like one of these cities where you can really be yourself. So in order to explore this city, you're probably going to want to take the trams. Very easy to track them down, get on one in the CBD area of Melbourne. They're completely free anyway. And the only downside about this, and I think most Aussies will know what I'm going to say, are the My Key cards. We initially picked ours up from 7-Eleven, but then we lost them. And so my brother and sister-in-law, who we were staying with while we were there, very kindly lent us a couple of theirs. And it's one of those travel cards where you load money onto it and then you tap on and you tap off when you get onto the tram. And my brother and sister-in-law agree with this, that it's just a bit inconvenient in, this day when we can just tap our phones to buy things in the shops, to get on the buses in Brisbane and the ferries in Brisbane, for example. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying it's one of those things you have to think about when you go to the city, and you've got a lot on your plate as it is, so it would be convenient if you didn't have to think about this card. Anyway, next up, we needed to take a walk down Hozier Lane. Now this lane is absolutely iconic for artists to be able to spray paint their artwork onto the walls of this alleyway, and it is so cool. Honestly, big tourist attraction. It's completely free, but there will probably be a lot of people there. Absolutely amazing. You see all different types of artworks, different types of messages. Maddie, am I right in thinking that anyone can just like graffiti here? Or do you have to have a license? It's an absolute spectacle. If you haven't seen this online before, oh my gosh, wait till you get here in person. Watch this. Imagine I had a spray paint can then, and I was going ksh. Okay, let's go. Oh, and by the way, sometimes I get questions about my gear and how I film these videos on the go. And honestly, this whole trip, I'm just using the DJI Pocket 3 camera. It's a tiny little thing, and these little wireless mics that come with them, they're so easy, they're so lightweight, and like I do with all my gear, that's linked in the description below if you're interested. And the beautiful thing about Hozier Lane is that you can just pop into it for 5 minutes and then you've completed it, you know, depending how long you want to look at the art. You can just walk through it, call it a day, and it's right opposite ACMI. ACMI stands for the Australian Centre for the Moving Image, which my wife and I, both actors, we absolutely love this museum. It really like highlights some of the incredible Australian artistry and filmmaking and acting that the country has to offer. But I must admit, this was not planned at all. They have this Game Worlds exhibition on currently. I don't know if it's still on. And it was $30 entry, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't normally pay for museum exhibitions because I think, oh, the rest of the museum's free, so is it worth it? We paid the $30 each, and oh my word, was it worth it? It basically gives you a whole rundown and look through the history of video games, starting from the very early text-based ones that were, you know, based off things like Dungeons and Dragons. And then all the way through to LAN parties and online gaming. And then right at the end of the exhibition was Stardew Valley, which is brilliant because my wife and I literally a month or two ago, we started playing Stardew Valley, which is a farming game, right? Which doesn't sound very interesting, but I'm not giving it enough credit. We're absolutely addicted. It's brilliant. It's super cheap. You can even play it on your phone. We got to have a look at how they made The Sims, which for my wife and I is a really big deal. That was like our childhood, you know, we're both 90s babies, so we played a lot of Sims 1, 2, and 3, and it felt like one of the best ways to spend $30 in Melbourne. So if it's still on, I'd highly recommend you go. And then after that, we had to take a look through the main museum. We've been through this a couple times before, but there's always something new. They're always adding stuff to it and changing things out. There's a lot of interactive stuff there. There was even a section on how to sell to Australia, which I thought was absolutely genius because ever since I started studying acting and became one, I've realised how much of a business it is, and that in order to have a successful acting career, you also need to think like a business person. Ah, this looks a little bit fun. Let's give it a whirl. Oh, send it. Who needs Luna Park when you got this? You should have a go, Mads. Have a go, come on. Then on the way out, we see this big glass box in front of us and some construction workers are peeling black plastic off. And it turns out it's the Wicked exhibition, and they had the official Glinda and Elphaba dresses from the movies, which is absolutely cool. Genius that they've put it outside of ACMI. It's between ACMI and Flinders Street Station. If that's still there when you go, please go see it, it's very cool. And by the way, we're aiming to hit 50k subscribers by the end of the year, so if you're enjoying me being a Brit lost in Australia, then hit that subscribe button. Let's get back to it. It's day 2 and I'm so excited for what we're gonna do next. We're here at the O'Brien ice skating rink and we were looking for something fun and thrilling to do. And so we went into the city and we discovered that there is an Olympic recognised ice skating rink in Melbourne. But anyway, when you think of Melbourne, you think of the coffee, you don't think of frostbite. Sorry, okay, let's go in.
Alright, so as you can see, we're here. Everyone behind us, except for one little girl, has their own skates and looks like an absolute pro. And I'm about to hang on for dear life while Sam skates around. So I'm really looking forward to that. Nah, it's really cool though. I like seeing them do all their tricks and stuff. You always get on and you feel a bit wobbly. But the great thing about O'Brien Ice House is that you pay for a day entry. You get the whole day there. So we spent, I think, like 3 hours there. It was amazing. We're gonna hit the slopes, hit the ice.
and one of these. So this has been a lot of fun, but as you can see, there's lots of pros behind us, and the Winter Olympics is what, coming up soon? February. So there could even be some Australian Olympians in this room. It was quite intimidating when Maddie and I, we are amateurs, we really are. When you've got like an Olympian doing a pirouette near your face, it's like, it's a little bit scary. Anyway, let's go for a little spin. And that's the thing about Australia, people love to stereotype it. It's all red dirt, outback, kangaroos, 50°C heat, whereas that's just not true. The continent is so vast, it covers such a huge amount of the globe that there is every single climate, every single condition, and then only in Melbourne, I realised you can go through hot laneways with your double espresso to skating in an Olympic recognised ice rink. Absolutely amazing. You know, if I'm being honest, Melbourne really isn't what I expected. The first few times I visited, I did the really cliche touristy stuff. You don't really visit this city, you sort of go explore it. It is an absolute adventure. You can plan your whole day around an itinerary and a map if you really want to, but before you know it, the rain will be hitting you and you're sprinting inside for a little magic coffee. Amazing coffee, by the way, only ever had it in Melbourne. Then you're tapping your Mikey card on the tram to go ice skating with a load of Olympians. And what's fun is we could explore the colour splattered walls of Hozier Lane, take a super nostalgic trip back to our childhoods, and stand in front of one of the most incredible train stations I've ever seen, which I know sounds a bit sad, but wait till you see Flinders Street Station in person. It's beautiful. And that's what no one tells you about visiting Melbourne. It's there to surprise you. It's not perfect, it's got a lot of quirks, but that's what makes it so special. What no one tells you is that it's not a cliche Australian experience. If you're expecting the outback like some Hollywood movie, this is not the place. It is an arts hub. It is filled with creativity, incredible people all around, and it feels like the sort of place you could truly be yourself in. It feels like there's a group and a circle for everyone. That's what makes it super special. That's the magic in it, and that's what no one tells you about visiting Melbourne. Now, if you enjoyed this adventure, you probably want to see what my first ever impressions were of Sydney. It was a crazy adventure, so click this video here and I will see you over there.